It's been 50 years since the War of the Wilds, and still nothing grows on the Kindlelands. The exact day the flora of the world stood up and ravaged the cities of the Graynor Peninsula is lost to the ages. After the Great Fire tore its way from west to east, turning the land barren and fallow, the otherworldly patrons, the guides, and the great cities of the Kindlelands worked together in their own way to bring a kind of peace to a war-torn people. It is a gentle, delicate balance, and something or someone threatens it. Welcome to another path. My name is Chase, and this one's gonna be a little different. This bonus episode came out of a mic test we did with our collective new audio setup. Originally, it was supposed to kick off the next episode, but it stands well on its own, and we think it's going to be a great entry point not only to the characters that Ryan, Zach, and Griffin have created, but also to what's going on in the world. We're picking up right where we left off last time, with Jackson, Zephyr, and Mordecai, in that order, being told that an otherworldly patron of magic has been threatened. We'll be back next week with a normal-length episode, but for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy your trip down another path. Someone is threatening the Wanderer. You are dimly aware of the patrons of magic, strange and powerful beings that the warlocks swear their loyalty to, though you've never heard of someone trying to attack one. Magus Diamond looks grim as she stands before you, her hands in a knot. We are in need of your help, for which you of course will be compensated. However, in order to do this, we need to have a discussion with each of you, privately. The Magus opens the door and leads the three of you into separate rooms. You find yourself in an armory. Not what you expected here in a mage's guild, but you suppose everyone needs good steel from time to time. You heft one of the plain blades, feeling its balance. Just as you're about to swing at a training dummy, you are startled from your reverie as the door opens.
Ah!
Diamond walks in, accompanied by a woman in gray. She is tall, older, with sly but serious eyes, and an incredibly serious demeanor. All of this catches your eye, of course, but it's the tattoo on her arm that catches your eye the most. Long, twining, and seemingly rippling with some power that even you can sense. Unversed in magic as you are, you know that this marks her as someone of import within the political structure of rule and magic. Jackson, this is Archdruid Leia Sebulwark. She has come to offer protective and liaison services during this time. Leia nods.
My lady, bow.
Leia nods to her,
Yes.
and then to you. She removes the scroll from her cloak, looks at it, palms it for a moment, and then stashes it away. Captain Jackson Silver, hero of the Battle of Timbertall, awarded the Steel Plow and Silver Scythe for acts of bravery and daring, honorably discharged after 5 years of service at Greynor's Wall. You play by the book, Silver, and I do like that. The information I am going to be revealing to you once we gather your party back together is incredibly sensitive. You need to know that going in, this is not going to be traditional soldier work. Most soldiers do not operate in this kind of wet work. Normally, there is a lengthy process to approve soldiers for this kind of clearance, but time is making a fool of procedure. With that in mind, I need to know. Why did you leave the service? By all accounts, I've spoken with some of your commanders. You seemed happy. Most of the in your situation do end up staying.
As soon as she said, Captain, I snapped to attention immediately. So I'm standing there stiff as a board at attention. Ma'am, permission to speak frankly?
Of course.
I got too good at killing things. It got too easy, and that was terrifying, ma'am. I imagine there must be something else in the world besides following orders and killing, but even out here on my own, or with Mordecai and Zephyr, it's still how I make my living. So, If I'm needed, I'm here to serve.
It's a damn fine reason to leave the service, I gotta say. I've heard a lot of reasons in the past, but that's, whew. And she looks over at the Magus, and she looks back to you. Right then. Well, like I said, you will of course be compensated for your time. I can offer you a great many things. Of course, money, whatever you want, a home within any city that you might want to live, maybe a little bit further from a front, expanded farmland for your family. If you wanted to go back to that life, I know that you still got some family out in Plains Watch.
Yes, ma'am.
And of course, if you do miss the military life, you can return, possibly get you a desk job away from the lines as well. Might be boring, but it's safe work, usually, till they call you in for something like this. Right then.
What is this exactly, ma'am?
Well, I'll go into more detail once we get everybody together. I have to go speak to the other two next, but the skinny of it is, we believe that there is a mole within our ranks. We're bringing the three of you on because of what they know, and you guys were in after, so we're able to keep a relatively close eye on you. We just know it's not you, so somebody has to keep an eye on things.
Understood. Whatever you need. I'm not the best at ferreting out moles, but
honestly,
you won't live much longer if that's what's needed.
We're hoping that the other two might be able to do that. We need you to keep an eye on them, and they'll keep an eye on you, and, teamwork.
Teamwork. It makes the dream work. There's an old saying we had back in the Force.
I believe that, I suppose. And she nods, and she nods to the Magus, and she leaves. And you are alone in the room. Is there anything else that you would like to do while you're waiting to be reconvened?
Can I investigate this armory a little bit? Because it seems a little suspect to be in the Mage's Guild.
Yeah, go for it.
I have rolled a 19 minus 1, 18.
An 18, investigation or perception?
That was investigation.
Okay. With
searching for anything out of the ordinary, possibly.
Okay. You walk up the rows of weapons, and they're all pretty simple. You got lots of quarterstaffs, a couple swords, long swords. Up on the wall, there is one big fuck-all claymore, but you go and you run your finger along it, and it is blunt as hell. This thing has never been used. You pick up a bunch of weapons at random, and you're not feeling any of the magical tinglies. This is the public armory. Go ahead and roll me an insight check.
12.
You have seen mages run low on spells before. Out on the wall, everybody has a sword. Not every mage in the city has a sword. You have already seen what can happen when the guilds go to war. It is entirely possible that this is just a last line of defense for them. But you are the warrior type. If they're going to make you wait anywhere, it's going to be in here.
Great. I pick up one of the non-sharp swords, one of the blunt ones. Yeah. And I'm just going to go at this training dummy. And I'm going to see if I can shake off any rust from not being in the service.
Someone is threatening the Wanderer. These words echo in your mind, surreal as anything you've ever seen or heard. The Wanderer, one of the great old ones, patron to many of your fellow warlocks, is under attack. Zephyr, the room you find yourself in is not what you expected. It's a comfortable library, with low stone shelves that greet you on either side of the door. A fire crackles low, and the fireplace as a pitcher of a sweet alcohol decants on a low table next to you. What do you do?
I probably walk in, probably casually pour myself a drink, and take a seat. I mean, this is hitting somewhat home for Zephyr, so he's probably going to be as attentive as possible. trying to do what he can.
You sit for about 10 minutes before the door opens again. Diamond walks in, accompanied by a gray-robed woman. She is tall, with eyes that hint at some sort of familiarity that you can't really put your finger on. But it's the tattoo on her arm that catches your eye. Long, twining, running from her fingers all up the length of her arm. Her robes are actually cut in such a way that you can't help but notice it. You know this tattoo marks her as a one of the cabinet, a leader of the mages of the Kindlelands, and a trusted advisor for Graynor, Bulwark's king. Zephyr, this is Leia Sebulwark, Archdruid of Bulwark. She has come to offer protective and liaison services during this time. The new woman nods to her, and then to you. She removes a scroll from her cloak, opens it, and snaps her fingers. She places it in the air, open, and fetches herself a drink as she looks it over.
The moment that they step into the room, Zephyr probably, stands up, just being cordial. He doesn't like, military folks at all, but he's got great respect for his fellow mages, cause they've, undoubtedly most of them dealt with the same stuff he has.
Mr. Johnson, you've served longer than most, and while I know your situation was more compulsory than voluntarily, I would like to start by thanking you for your service.
I thank you for everything you do, so that is a great honor to me.
We have obtained information pertaining to an attack on the Wanderer, this city's otherworldly patron. We have reason to believe that we have moles intending harm within our ranks here in this local guild. We would like to requisition you, as well as Jackson and Mordecai, to protect him. Normally, information required to properly protect the Wanderer is classified under fairly tight lock and key. However, we are able to relax this in order to bring the three of you on. With that in mind, Zephyr, as a show of faith, I am offering amnesty for any crimes that you admit right now.
To what has happened to the Wanderer?
No. Any crimes that you may have committed in the past. I would like you to move forward with a clean slate. If there is anything that you have to maybe talked about, now would be the time. Otherwise, we can move forward.
Oh, this is hard. I don't know. I'm not sure whether or not he would offer this information up, because once it's there, it's there. I think I'm gonna roll deception. I think this isn't stuff that he would, he respects this person, but letting someone of this high of status aware of what he's doing it would ruin everything he's worked for. So,
yep.
I guess I'm making that deception roll. Here we go. I haven't charged my dice either, so we'll see how it goes.
Alright.
Oh boy. Alright, awesome. That's a 23. I have great respect for you, and for magedom in a whole. I would do anything for my fellow magic users, but no, I have not committed any crimes that would... No, I'm sorry. If this is not what you wish to hear, I cannot help you.
That's fine. I was offering you a chance to confess any crimes you may have committed. It was not intended as an accusation. However, it is a fairly poorly kept secret that you are someone who is perhaps a little reluctant about our overbearing and monitory nature.
Is she talking
but
about
I cannot deny that it can.
Is she talking about the military, in general? So she is connected to the military? Like she is a high-ranking person?
Yes. She is about as high up as you can go.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm definitely not telling her anything about that then.
Nah.
It is not a very well-kept secret, my reluctance towards my previous occupation. They took everything from me, but I did the time they wished for me. And I got out. No more, no less.
As is your respected right. Very well then. I will explain in more detail exactly what we will be doing after I have talked to both, to Mordecai. I've already spoken with Jackson and he seemed relatively eager. Of course, there will be payments, though this might be a slightly longer contract depending on what we find out. But I can offer most anything you would like. A home, a protected lab within a city, perhaps increased freedoms and relaxed observation could even be arranged. I do have quite a bit at my disposal. Do you have any questions for me?
When do we start?
Someone is threatening the Wanderer. This is bad. You've grown up with magic all around you, and while your family never got into the warlock arts, you are aware of the repercussions of one of the patrons being harmed. Well, you're aware that there would be repercussions, at any rate. The Magus opens the door and leads the three of you into separate rooms. You find yourself in an apothecary. Clearly somebody's office. You start off by sitting in a comfortable chair on the near side of the desk, though you quickly grow bored. You move to the window and you see several small pots filled with soil. You take a palmful out and start fiddling with the seed that Mr. Taldway gave you to practice with, and you start working on some druidic exercises. What are you doing?
Trying my best to not kill this seed, as I'm still but a wee novice druid.
Go ahead, roll me an Arcana check.
That is only a 6.
Okay. You pump like a spell slot's worth of stuff into this seed, and just fucking nothing.
Yeah, well, fine. Okay. Later.
And as you're working on this, 20 minutes pass. But after 20 minutes, Diamond walks in, accompanied by an impressive woman in gray robes.
Hello!
She is tall, older, with sly eyes and an intricate sleeve tattoo, marking her as one of the king's cabinet.
Oh, shit.
Leia Sebulwark stands before you, and while seeing your mother here is unsettling, it impresses upon you on how bad things must be.
Oh.
Mordecai? Shh.
Hi, Mom.
She nods at you, and she waves the Magus away. She stands still for a moment as you realize, oh yeah, this is probably her office.
Oh.
And she's not super cool about being shooed out of it, but eventually she realizes that rank is being pulled, and she leaves.
Hey, I may have killed a plant over here. Don't worry about it.
She shrugs. Well, I admit sending you to Tobias was partially to keep you out of this kind of a mess, but here we are. You're going to be working with sensitive information, Mordecai. However, clearance is going to be granted to you moving forward. There's a mole in the guild here.
Oh.
Someone or someones are planning to attack the Wanderer. I have been sent to coordinate a defense.
Well, none of that sounds particularly good.
It's not. We are going to be requisitioning yourself as well as Jackson and Zephyr in order to try and protect him.
All right.
We'll be discussing the plan in general together in the main room. The other two had to get cleared a little bit more officially. However, since, I've known pretty much exactly where you've been, with the exception of the past 3 months, I think it is unlikely that you've fallen in with a terrorist group.
No, they're alright dudes.
Mm.
Jackson's a bit stiff, but I mean, he can fight.
You have managed to attach yourself to some impressive folk. Zephyr has more experience than most, and Jackson is efficient when he wants to be.
Mm-hmm. Now, refresh me, if you will, the Wanderer. He's one of the Zephyr has a patron and gives him his powers.
Correct.
The Wanderer's one of those?
Exactly.
Alright. Well...
He is one of the fiends.
Okay. If I may be so... bold... Why do we care?
We have agreements with them. Treaties forged long before you and I were born. They work with us. We work with them.
Alright.
To an extent, our motivations are aligned.
Okay.
And for what it's worth, I was serious. You will be paid well for this, as a matter of fact. Pretty much whatever you'd like, actually. If it's within the power of the mages to grant it, you could get it. A home, more expedited tutelage by other ranking members of the Druid Arts, a commendation on the wall again, something maybe a little bit more prestigious if you wanted it. Sky's the limit, son.
We'll see, I'll have to think on that.
Well, no need to make any rash decisions. I have a sinking feeling this may not be the only patron that you will have to be protecting in this contract.
Do we have any idea who's making this attack?
No, we found a note, something that was actually set to be destroyed, and the spell fizzled on it.
Excellent. No information going forward in dealing with Eldritch Gods. Excellent, love it.
Dealing with the Eldritch Gods is the easy part. Figuring out who's trying to kill them is the hard one.
Alright.
Right then. Any other questions, son?
How's the family? How's Dad?
Good. Oh, you know him. What does your dad do?
That's an excellent question. I imagine, much like me, he was an old military boy. And he probably liked it a lot more than I did. Not that I disliked it, but like Jackson, how Jackson resonates with it, I feel like he's probably still in it. Probably doesn't see much of the family.
No, probably not. No, your father took another tour out of Greynor's Wall with you and your siblings gone. It wasn't a whole lot keeping him there on the mountain, and I'm always at the offices, and well, he's just happier out there, and we're all doing our things, I suppose.
Yep, sounds like Dad. Alright, well, I think I know all I need to for the moment.
Right. Well, come with me. We'll go ahead and we'll gather your companions and we'll go over the plan in more detail.
Alright, sounds good.
Thank you for joining us here on Another Path. You can find us on our website, anotherpathpodcast.com, on Twitter at anotherpathpod, and on Facebook at facebook.com/anotherpathpodcast. We'll be back next Wednesday with a new episode, and until then, stay safe.